Forward TV. The world is thinking.
The article that I wrote that was most praised was from North Korea. I got a lot of praise for it. It's reprinted a lot. And I mention it because it's the article of which I'm most ashamed. Whenever I'm praised, I cringe, I clutch, because I know it's my greatest failure as a writer. I did my best to show what it might be like to be a North Korean. I tried everything I knew to try and get people to think what it would be like for 10 minutes to be a North Korean. The misery, the pointlessness, the horror, the crushing nothingness of being, and the deprivations and the humiliations that would be involved. I know I couldn't do it. I know I failed. But it taught me one thing. It answered a question I'd had since I was very small. I used to wonder what paradise would be like as described by my preachers and tutors. They said, well, it'll be eternal praise. You get all the time to praise. You sing praises the entire time. To someone who, in creating you, was doing only what came naturally. I used to think, that sounds like hell to me. But I used to think also, but fortunately, a bit like hell, I couldn't quite imagine it. Now I can. Now I've been to a state where that's the case. Now I've been to where eternal praise is mandatory. Now I've seen a state. It has a dear leader and a great leader, as probably you know. The great leader, the dear leader, as perhaps you don't know, is not in fact the president of North Korea. He's only the head of the party and of the armed forces. His late father is still the president. Thus we have a necrocracy. Or you might say a mausolocracy, or a thanatocracy. And you may notice also only one short of a trinity. And that's what you have to praise from dawn till dusk. So now I know what it would be like. But there's this one exception. You can get out of North Korea. You can die. And it's over. You can't do that with monotheism. They've only just started with you. Well, you laugh. I'm trying to make you cry, and you laugh. Imagine how I feel. In the Old Testament, you find, as I say in my book in one or two chapters, you find the warrant for racism, genocide, slavery, witch burning, mutilation of infants, and all the rest of it. That's all mandated. But not just praised, but mandated. It's pretty rough, notoriously rough. But when the earth closes over you after these treatments, that's it. There's no talk of punishing the dead. Not until gentle Jesus, meek and mild, late of Nazareth, or arguably Bethlehem, is the idea of eternal torture for children who die unbaptized or in other ways unredeemed, introduced into our culture. Thus I make my central, what I think is my central point. Religion is not just untrue and an obvious man-made falsification. I think there's no one who doesn't essentially know that. But there are many people, many atheists, who say they can't believe it, but they wish they could. It would be nice to believe it. No, it wouldn't. It would be the wish for an absolutely impermeable dictatorship that couldn't even be criticized, let alone overthrown, that went on forever, that supervised and invigilated your every waking moment and would not stop torturing you even after you were dead. To wish this to be true is to wish to be a slave. It is an immoral belief.